Mark, are you ready to start our
I am.
terribly unprofessional, nothing we can do about it, power is out.
This is probably the least professional podcast we've ever done, and that says
And that's
a lot.
not just because John Thomas is here.
No.
I mean, it doesn't hurt at all.
No.
Trying to up the game.
Trying to up the game. The power is out here
Went up like an hour
on the southeast side.
Yeah.
I heard there was a crash just right up the road from you, and so we don't know when we're gonna get power back. So we're at living Mark with the camera, the microphone.
Yep. There's no AC, so we'll probably be sweating.
Oh, it's
more
not
and
too
more.
bad out. Luckily, it's pleasant. It's probably gonna start pouring down rain at any minute too.
Yeah. So maybe that'll add some ambiance to the sound, I guess.
Here in the southeast side on Waynesburg Drive in Canton, South Ohio. No better
Waco,
place.
essentially.
We're basically in Waco. No better place to shoot a wrestling podcast
Yep.
for episode 15.
15, yeah.
Episode 15. And with that, I did it this time. And with that,
And with that said, this is Ohio Wrestlecast number 15. I am Mark Thomas, Jerrod Griffiths.
we have a special guest here today with us.
We do.
We do. We have a friend of the show, friend in real life, Mr. John Thomas.
No relation.
No relation.
Exactly. I was just about to mention that.
John has listened to us basically since day one, and we were talking back and forth about the same stuff we talked about on our last podcast, AEW and current product, everything like that. Had some different opinions, and we kind of came to terms where we were like, why don't you just get in front of the fucking camera and talk about it? In front of a microphone, which we were all in front of the same microphone today. But
Yeah, apologizing in advance for any shitty audio quality we may have.
apologize in advance for the shitty video quality because John Thomas is on here, and that brings down the handsome level quite a bit.
A little bit.
But Walt's bringing it back up, aren't you, pal?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, so we thought episode 15, man, let's do something a little different. Let's bring in a special guest. Let's just talk shop. Let's talk wrestling. Let's talk about current product. Let's talk about AEW because there's definitely some varying opinions going on. John and I talked about it. We have a difference in opinion. I'm much more negative than John on this one. But you know, we talk wrestling all the time, period. Anyways, and I think this would be a cool idea today.
Yeah.
We are winging it by the seat of our pants today, though. No microphones.
Nope. It's like we're just kicking it. I like it.
Just kicking it, talking wrestling, which is really kind of the idea, the concept in the first place, man.
Yeah.
We thought, man, we have a good time just sitting around drinking a beer and talking wrestling.
Yeah,
Well,
just
let's film it.
Yeah, with better audio, usually.
We usually have better audio, but we still have plenty of Walt.
We do.
We got a couple of cold ones.
Yeah. So where do you want to get started?
I say we get started by talking to my buddy John here, man. Why don't you know, our first episode, we talked about what got us into wrestling. What was our first memories of wrestling? You know, really the bare bones stuff. So you've been a wrestling fan as long as I've known, and then for the video feed, we are going to get some of your tats. You are, you're more involved in the wrestling than I think the rest of us are. Yeah, you got some poor choices in tactics as well. Stay tuned for that. Man, shoot the shit with us. Talk about wrestling. Talk about what got you into pro wrestling in the first place.
I don't even remember getting into wrestling. It's just something that's always been there. I was raised by my grandparents. My uncle and I were raised in the same house. He's only 12 years older than me. So when I'm a little kid, he's right in that prime spot of 13, 14, 15 of loving wrestling, Hulkamania, everything.
Right.
Just been a thing in my house forever. Grandpa used to watch it with both of us.
Hulkamania was the thing when you were little.
When I was little.
Yeah.
And my uncle was into it. Obsessed with Jimmy Superfly Snuka. That's all he loved. So, beat me up like a little brother. Stuff like that. That's how you get into it.
Jumping off shit.
And then I think me staying into it growing up let him never get out of it. Stayed and we still talk all the time and even though we don't see each other often, hey, did you see WrestleMania? Did you see Raw?
You know you can pick up that conversation.
And we do, yeah. So we've always stayed in the loop on it. And then there's pictures of me and him wrestling. My grandma has wrestling buddies of Hulk Hogan jumping off the couch.
Awesome.
All that stuff.
Did you have the wrestling buddies too? Most people did. You had the Macho King.
I think we had Macho Man too.
Macho King, and then we had Hogan, we had Warrior, Macho. I think we had like a couple Macho Kings like They got one for me and Josh.
Yeah.
So they would be twin jobbers, you know, like the macho twins.
For sure.
I could team up with Josh every once in a while in the living room.
No, I lucked out too having someone that grew up in the '80s. I had all the rubber.
So he had all the action figures as well.
Andre the
So
Giant
all
and
those
Macho
characters were familiar to you, even though you didn't grow up on. Andre the Giant's last match, I think, was like '90. You know what I mean? I think I think WrestleMania 6. I don't remember if he was around much longer than that. So you were barely born. So you didn't sit there and grow up on Andre the Giant matches, but that big action figure was you knew who it was.
I knew them all. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty important. Like we talked about growing up. Like I was the oldest, and I talked about my Bible plenty of times. Where I had that book of just all these wrestlers that were from a previous era, but like they're pictures, they're identifiable. I know who these guys are. For you, having somebody older than you was like, there's action figures of guys that you don't know who they are, but they're also wrestlers. And your uncle knew that they were a huge deal to him.
I also grew up in the time of family videos, so I just loving wrestling.
Was it Family Video then, or was it like Video Safari?
Video Safari.
Yeah.
And then it turned to Family Video. Video Safari that used to be in the Giant Eagle in Louisville.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
So we'd
No, then it was Movie Gallery.
it was that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I was real little, it was every Saturday my grandparents would go rent a movie and we'd watch. And I either got to rent an extra movie, and I'd get an old wrestling movie, so I'd get all the Royal Rumbles, all the King of the Rings, all the WrestleManias, learning all that. And I knew who these guys were. You know who Hulk Hogan is because WCW. And, and I remember slight stuff from that back in my.
Even then, he was Hulk
childhood.
Hogan. Like he
Oh, yeah.
transformed.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
because he was Hulk Hogan.
So I always grew up even watching this stuff before my time when I was super little. So loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it forever.
Didn't you hear something similar to that? Did you go to the?
Well, Kyle, that's probably how I saw wrestling for the first time was going to video stores and seeing the videos and getting them and shit. So like, yeah, I had a similar situation.
Those tapes just jumped out at you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like it was just the happiest sight in the world to see one of those wrestling tapes in. We used to have it was a grocery store called Barry's that was out in the sticks where we grew up, and there was like one of those like 3/4 racks. You know what I mean? Like 3/4 shelves. You'd walk in and see a shelf here, a shelf here, a shelf there, and they might have had 4 or 5 wrestling tapes. Like it was like Survivor Series 87, 88, I think WrestleMania like 4, WrestleMania 7, and then like a glow.
Yeah.
And like, but like when I went in there, like when I knew we were going in, I was going to look and I would get whichever one I could that I hadn't had last. And then we'd still go to Blockbuster and stuff like that from time to time, pick up those old tapes. But man, is that not like just one of the happiest feelings in the world? Like going through and seeing a wrestling tape that you hadn't seen yet.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And then, and even stuff that was slightly before that, because I feel like out of my childhood, I got out of it, maybe 95-ish, I don't know, super into Power Rangers, stuff like that, I was a little kid. But then getting, like, old King of the Rings and just seeing Mankind, I could watch all that stuff with him, and then he was still on the product, so I'm, like, caught up.
What
right
got
then.
you back in? Yeah, what?
I'm a little younger than you guys, so when I'm a child in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, the Attitude Era, full effect.
You're a little younger than me. You're not that much younger. You and Mark are
Stone
about the same
Cold,
age.
DX.
Yeah, that got you back in.
All of it, all that.
That got
NWO.
everybody hooked.
I was obsessed with Crow Sting when I was a kid. And looking back, terrible. Terrible.
Cool.
No,
Super cool.
No memorable match as Crow Sting. If you, well, I don't think so. But what a character, especially for a child.
For sure.
Yeah, what's weird is for me, the guy that I didn't watch all the Monday night stuff because as a kid you had to go to bed at 9 o'clock, right? So I didn't watch all the Monday night stuff, but man, I watched every Superstars and I watched like stupid Live Wire and I watched the Action Zone. But they would show reclips of stuff from Raw, so you know what was constantly going on.
Saturday
I remember
morning.
my uncle would record Raw for me.
Okay.
And I would watch it. He'd record it on a VHS tape when I was real little, probably 2nd or 3rd grade, and I'd watch those like days later. I actually just told my girlfriend I grew up in an awesome time when you could get. Remember when you'd have fuzz channels that would sometimes be paid
96, 98, oh yeah, we're talking about that, yeah.
Constantly just listening and like catching a glimpse of a wrestling pay-per-view.
And porn.
was amazing.
Yeah,
yes.
just yeah, it's a classic.
Because after
I
11
think at
o'clock
my
it
age,
was the Spice Channel, but
at my age, I was more impressed with the wrestling. But
Tomato.
Yeah.
I know we used to do that too all the time. Yeah, the Scramble Channel.
It's great.
It was honestly like an audio feed.
It was amazing.
And today, like with what podcasts are, like It's not that. I mean, I still listen to the Indians games all the time, audio feed. I don't watch an Indians game in forever. Listen to it like a bar and it's on.
And back then, wrestling was so good at hooking you with storylines, so you had to know who won.
Right.
Because you want to go to school the next day. That's the elementary school I had to go to school.
And that's the thing about the Attitude Era as a whole. Not necessarily the matches were what people write home about. It was the storylines, the angles. It's what actually happened and what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
So you couldn't see the physical action.
It was must see TV.
But you still knew what happened. I remember King of the Ring '98 being on the Scramble channel with Taker and Mankind, and did I not? I physically see him crash that table? No, but the fact that he did it and they're sitting there describing it for you, you knew what happened. Mm-hmm. It was pretty close to the real thing. Eventually, of course, you've seen it later. Now, but enough to where it hooked me. I'm like, I gotta see it. I gotta see what's gonna happen next.
Nowadays, that wouldn't work though. They're so off the cuff, and they'll start talking about stuff that's not even going on in the match.
That's true.
Nowadays, you wouldn't be you'd know who won and you'd know who was in the match, but you wouldn't really know anything.
And you know what Roman Reigns ate for breakfast. Because that's what they're talking about. They're not.
Or they'd be promoting something like this, or you just hear a commercial because the match is going on in the corner. You know
that's
what I mean?
True. They do the commercial in the insets nowadays too.
So it'd be very different now.
Which I don't hate because they take so many commercials. So you might as well give me some kind of wrestling.
You still get to see the match and shit, but it's tiny in the corner.
I prefer the commercials over most of the time on the AOL right now.
But my
grumpy
point
old
is,
man right here.
commentary isn't what it used to be. You had Mauro Ranallo for a minute, but JBL kind of fucked that up, I guess. But,
he's doing a great job on the NXT broadcast. But
yeah.
But it's also. That's different because the NXT broadcast doesn't have commercial interruption. It doesn't have, they're really not plugging what's going to happen later.
He's got story to talk about and nuance to talk about that's foreshadowing, and they actually mean.
If you watch
some stuff,
if you watch a takeover, it's those 5 matches, and those 5 matches do have a story. So you need to focus on the story of those 5 matches. You did listen to the entire podcast of episode 14?
AEW one.
From AEW and NXT. Let's just dive into kind of rebuttal on that. How do you feel about NXT as a whole? My position is that I love NXT. I think NXT is the perfect product, except for its purpose. They're failing miserably because I think it's a terrible. It's supposed to be the farm system. It's supposed to be get you seasoned in, get you ready for the big time, kid. And it's like we mentioned. I think Johnny Gargano might be the best wrestler in the world, and unless they're going to give him 30 minutes to tell a story on Raw every week, which of course they're not, I don't see how he's going to succeed. And it's just it's absolutely not a knock on Gargano and his talent. But it's the way things are, I don't see how it's going to work.
Look at a guy like Aleister Black, who should be... I look at someone like him and I'm like, that guy is a ready-made star. He's got the wrestling talent. He's got the song. Yeah. He's got... his entrance is amazing.
Yeah.
That guy's moveset for... his size and build is insane. And then what are they doing with him? They have him cutting promos about how no one wants to fight him.
Yeah.
But
after he was on TV for a couple of months.
We want to see him actually fight.
Yeah, after we already seen him.
With another ready-made star. Say what you want about Ricochet's size, but dude, that guy, he's got some charisma that I don't think they let shine. He's proven himself. I mean, that guy's had highlight clip matches for years and years with no national audience.
Yeah.
And then they stick them together and just nothing.
We talked about that on our show where they brought up those two, and then it was before Ciampa was out, but it was Ciampa and Gargano. And we brought that up. We're like, should we be excited these guys are coming up on the main stage? And I said, well, not the way they're doing it.
No.
They're just throwing it out there saying, look, here's all these guys and they're good.
Yeah.
And they are. But like you said about Aleister Black, that guy's a star. He's a ready-made star. So if they would have done these vignettes leading up to a match maybe after WrestleMania or something like that, now you're excited for it. But it doesn't make sense to do it now. We already seen it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, I can't add anything to that you already said.
I think there's a lot of mileage out of that character. But
it's just one example.
Is it insulting our intelligence to basically say, just reset?
No.
Reset.
It'd be great if they didn't have takeover specials and they just had they kept NXT as this little thing a gem on the network you could just watch and stuff, but they didn't promote it as look at these characters and then bring them up and change their names and
Well, yeah, changing the names is a whole nother story.
changing gimmicks and
then sending them back. I mean, like, and then we talked a little bit about that too. Like, how do you feel about the whole Tyler Breeze thing? Like,
he's another one. Well, I don't mind him going back, but he's another one. If you watch, that guy was so showcased on NXT years ago against Neville, Sami Zayn, all that whole group.
sure.
And he, I mean, I looked at him and it's like, okay, the other guys, you know they're pushing. But, like, you look at Tyler Breeze and you're like, this guy could be the breakout star.
Sure.
He's got the talent. He puts matches together. He sells. He's got the moveset. He's got charisma. Oh, man. And then they did nothing.
Oh, they
nothing with
did
him.
nothing with him.
What about his gimmick, though? I think
it could have worked if they leaned.
You don't like his gimmick, well?
They leaned too much into it the wrong way.
So serious.
he is, man. I do not like that.
No, but they gave him what was that dumbass like VIP section. They just leaned too much into character work the wrong way with him when he got to the main roster. Didn't showcase any talent the guy has.
I don't hate his gimmick. I think they push it too far. Like they should put some more realism to it. You know what I mean? Like he's too goofy with it. It should be.
But he
you
wasn't
can
that
be
way in
that
NXT,
guy
though.
and it be legitimate.
NXT, he was
He got in the ring and he was the real deal.
He was a great wrestler that like, happened to be a supermodel.
Yeah.
was kind of the gimmick there. Do you feel like I try to look at it a different way? Like I don't feel like I'm a baseball fan. If a player comes up and he's got a lot of potential, but he's just not quite there yet, and they send him back to AAA, I don't think that necessarily means that guy isn't going to be a star. And now that's why it kind of makes you wonder about NXT because I did hear that like Killian Dane, Apollo Crews, there's a couple guys that are going back to NXT.
Yeah.
Which should definitely help the NXT product. Do you look at that it devalues that character, like as in a you were here and you weren't good enough, so you're going back, or do you think it just kind of helps NXT's?
I think it helps NXT because Cesaro is one of the greatest wrestlers in the world, and look at him going down to NXT, and that he's put a spotlight on Sami Zayn that wouldn't have been there.
Sure.
I mean that NXT was awesome anyway, but I think you got a few, which Cesaro wasn't a big name at the time,
right?
But yeah, some people. Oh, let's see what
He
Cesaro's doing.
He already won the U.S. title at that point.
Yeah, they didn't push him very much though.
No, it didn't mean much.
But I don't think it devalued Cesaro.
No, well,
So.
they don't value Cesaro enough as it is anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like cutting someone completely, which still doesn't devalue you if you look at like Drew McIntyre got completely cut. Did that devalue?
Sure.
I mean, he showed his worth.
Revalued himself.
Exactly. So I think it depends on what they do with him. You know,
That's fair.
I think they put Tyler Breeze in a spot to be showcased, and I think it upped his value because he wasn't showcasing anything. On the
Well,
roster.
and that's a great point because I mean, if you say like, oh, is it a demotion for him going down to NXT? It's like, well, he had a 15-minute match that was really fucking good,
Really good.
as opposed to not seeing him at all on any of the other main roster products.
And now I think it's working vice versa, where now there's people that watch NXT that probably don't know who Tyler Breeze is because he's not on the main
That's
product.
a good point.
So now you've just got all those eyes that are on Velveteen Dream, which are a lot. And
As
you
it
put them
should
right
be.
back on Tyler Breeze, so I think it's good for him.
That's a good point. And we did talk about that too, where we all assume that everybody who watches Raw and SmackDown watches NXT and has a network, and it's not necessarily the case. So, as you mentioned, the guy coming up from NXT to the main roster, we're expecting, people are expecting, like, oh, these guys are good. That's not necessarily good enough. Aleister Black, debut him as a new character. Now, at the same time, if you want to try to get somebody in NXT, and he was like, well, remember Tyler Breeze, man? Like, he's here now. Like, watch what he can do.
Yeah.
And you can maybe get somebody hooked onto that product now. You look at that mold, it's not a bad idea. And if, as you said too, if there's no room for him even on a main event show, to watch on the network only, let him go back to NXT. Let him go back there and have great matches. Let him.
Well, I think that's the type of thing, especially for someone like Tyler Breeze, that keeps fans like us happy because we know what that guy can do.
He's got it in him.
So let him do it, so.
No, it's a completely fair point. Have you guys watched any 205 Live?
No, but I just was listening to, I don't want to say I was listening to a different podcast, but
You can we support other podcasts on here.
I was listening to Sam Roberts, the one he just had with Joey Ryan on. And
I don't support Sam Roberts podcast.
One of his, he just said if you're going to watch any WWE, he told everyone, if you think it's too much product, you need to cut an hour from Raw or an hour from SmackDown
And watch
205
205 Live instead.
because it's the best thing they're putting on.
I've heard that. Jack Gallagher and Chad Gable just had.
I heard Chad Gable went down there, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Chad Gable went down there, and I've heard.
Which is the same thing. I think that's only going to up his value because he wasn't showcasing anything as it was.
Mike Kanellis, Mike Bennett, I heard is doing great down there. And again, these are guys that, Chad Gable's a guy that we always thought was on the cusp anyway.
He's great. He's got everything.
And never really got a chance to shine. So why not? Let him go down there. Let him have a great match. Yeah. Buddy Murphy was the guy that I didn't know the difference between him and Blake when they were in the tag team. And all of a sudden he's on 205 Live. You're like, this guy's fucking incredible.
Yeah. I don't really watch 205 Live all that much, but I've heard really good things about it. I don't know why I don't watch it.
I think we should all start.
Well, maybe.
We can make a vow. We can make a vow right here in front of the one camera, the one mic, and Walt and God. And we'll start watching 205 Live.
Yeah, well.
No, apparently it's worth it, I guess.
I watch Raw, right? I might as well.
Because I'll put on the network at night because I want to watch some wrestling and not know what I want to watch, and I'll watch a Nitro from '98. Why? That's not fair to the current product. It's not fair to. You just did it too?
I decided to go watch the entire episode of Chris Jericho's 1004 Holds.
It's a classic. I was watching just a random ass Nitro. Scotty Riggs comes to the ring, and my buddy was there with me. He's like, "Can't look at Scotty Riggs without the eye patch. It's weird." And then all of a sudden, Raven jumps the rail to wrestle. I'm like, "Oh shit, this is the match!" Like it's such a weird thing. We're like,
drop toe hold him
out of the chair, and he sells the shit out of his eye, and comes back as Riggs with the eye patch. Yeah. Now I kind of want to go back and see. Now he's talking me out of it. I kind of want to go watch old Nitro.
Well, one reason I got out of 205 Live, I tried checking it out, and then they had at the time you were getting like 3 segments of Enzo on Raw. You're getting like 2 of him on SmackDown, and then he's your champion on 205 Live and all over that show. And I'm like, and I was just over him. I'm like, I don't even want to watch this show.
They utilized that because he had real heat.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of the other guys. So
and the guy could talk. I mean, we'll give him that.
He could talk. You're an Enzo guy.
I'm not an Enzo guy. I just say bada boom a lot when I do things.
Bada boom, well, sky in the room.
Yeah, I'll do something. It doesn't matter. Just press a button. I'll just be like bada boom, and then I have to fight myself not to say realest guy in the room. But no, I'm not really a fan. I just know.
He did bring real heat to the cruiserweight division. It basically made Neville leave the company as a whole.
But me tuning out, it started to be go away heat, and not. It just got real bad.
Well, Big Cass was always go away heat.
Yeah.
Man. My God.
Did you see that shit? They did it. What was it, Ring of Honor?
Where they jumped around and did the Briscoes?
Did you see what they just did this week?
No.
They just got beat up by John Moxley.
Oh, really? Both of them?
Yeah.
Like, legitimately?
I just read it today. Like, I forget what they were. It was just an indie show. He came out in Dirty Deeds them both.
Okay. Alright, see, but what about the Ring of Honor thing with, like, Bully Ray and shit? Was that legit? I don't know.
No, they just made it seem legit. I think the Briscoes were in on it, but not a lot of the guys were, from what I've heard.
They did a good job there.
Yeah, I think I heard, like, the New Japan guys weren't in on it, so that's why they just were like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, because it was the Briscoes against the New Japan. It's like Tamatanga.
Yeah.
Which, don't fuck with that guy. Don't fuck with any of those fucking
That's me.
Yeah,
you kidding me?
Yeah. You got a quarter of the genetics in there. Like, yeah, those guys are lucky to have throats at this point. I don't follow the Ring of Honor product that much. Has Enzo and Cass been booked as...
No, I think they got such negative... From what I've read, so we don't know how much is true, but it's such a negative reaction from people that work in the company from bringing those in that they just decided to part ways from it, yeah.
Wow. It wouldn't have generated any dollars for me. I mean, I don't want to see...
It got me to watch the YouTube clip.
I was just about to say, it got views. And I think that's all. That's what matters nowadays, really.
I guess it didn't matter enough if they're not going to go through with the angle.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
They're not trying to sell that match, so, I mean, if they don't know there's money involved, I guess it didn't matter enough.
Yeah.
Well, here, how's the segue, man? Let's, we talked about John Moxley. Let's talk about AEW. AEW is the big to-do right now in wrestling. Well, Moxley went over and won the, was it the North American title over in New Japan Pro Wrestling?
United States.
United States, yeah, North American United States title. He won that from friggin' CJ Parker, which is kind of a joke that he's a champion anyway.
No, have you watched it?
No,
he's gotten so much better.
Sucks.
I think he looks good now too. He cut the dreads.
He looks good. He looks the part, but he.
I think he's young. He'll get there. Well,
it's a subtopic. We're talking AEW, and we we actually had a little more similar viewpoints than I thought we would going into the show. But you thoroughly enjoyed the show. You feel optimistic about the company going forward.
There are negatives, but I just have a different viewpoint on the negatives.
All right, well, do explain. We brought you on here.
First, did you hear the news of AEW this week? Their next pay-per-view, Fyter Fest, is 100% free.
Yeah, streaming.
Yeah.
On Twitch?
On Bleacher Report.
Oh, that's right. I didn't hear about that.
Completely free, so that's
That's
pretty
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, I like
Moxley's
that.
first match, which I think that's going to get a lot of eyes on that company. People want to see Dean Ambrose as much as, even if you liked him, you want to see him. If you hated him,
If you
want
were,
to see him be better.
You want to see him be better. If you were a casual fan, at least you know who he is.
Well, you heard
if you're a
about
hardcore fan, you feel that he's fired up now and he's going to be a new version of himself. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I think that's awesome. So I just think you're going into it too hateful. It's a new product.
It's a semi-new product.
But I mean, production-wise, these guys haven't done it.
And we talked about it. They did
Doing all
a
that.
pretty good job, all things considered.
One thing I do want to rebuttal to you is I believe you said something along the lines of not a lot of storyline to get you hooked, not a lot going in. But I mean, what storyline are you gonna have on first show really? It's still introductory to a lot of characters.
That's what I was trying to say in the last
It's-
episode. Is what they had to work
Yeah,
with,
yeah,
they
yeah.
did really fucking good.
I think so.
When we get to, there's a lot of filler.
I mean, you set up MJF. I mean, you're starting him off. You got him. You got him
Yes
right there.
and no.
You
No,
know
did
he's an
you-
asshole.
Did you give him a premiere spot with that promo with Bret Hart? You did, but did you make him look kind of stupid for, Jimmy Havoc, like, and Jungle Boy? Like, I don't know.
But now he's got a reason to feud with people. I don't know. You got to start somewhere. I mean, the guy called out Bret Hart. What kind of while he's only presenting a belt and told me he hopes he gets beat.
Yeah,
by
no,
a fan.
that's a good spot to put him in.
It's
and I
good.
think they knew that he would be a heel, that they could put him in that spot. I mean, I think that tag match with Beretta and Chuck Taylor and Jack Evans and Angelico, that could have. I don't need that.
I mean, yeah, there is going to be filler, but I think it feels like filler because a lot of these guys are from way different promotions. And like, as much as we think these guys have worked together, a lot of the guys that work together didn't work matches together on that show.
Sure, so it could be at least that could be a selling ticket to fans who are like, well, you haven't seen these guys together.
Yeah.
I mean, Kenny Omega and Pentagon was that on the All In show.
Yeah.
Those were two guys that were top guys from their promotions that just hadn't crossed paths at that point.
From that standpoint, I think that's give it time. Storylines, you really, I think, and I'll say, yeah, they don't have storylines, but TV's coming. It's going to come fast too.
Well, then this is one thing we brought up on the podcast when you talk about the Young Bucks. Okay, so here's our thing, and I thoroughly believe this. If you have never seen a Young Bucks match in your life, and you saw that match, you'd be like, oh my god, these guys are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They are amazing. They're great.
so
They're great at what they do. Now, if you got to see that every single week or even every other week on television, do you think the shtick could grow cold?
Well, it could.
Yeah.
It could. I'm going to hope that these guys are smart enough to save a lot of that. I'm hoping they're giving us what we all want from WWE.
Right.
You showcase your smaller guys, like lower name guys on the TV show. You build storylines with the big guys. I mean, it's Stone Cold. Stone Cold didn't fight every week on Raw, but he came out and cut a promo and sold the pay-per-view.
Right.
So I'm hoping that if those guys do that once a month, once every other month, it still means something. You know what I mean? So
That makes sense.
I think we'll see where that goes. I don't think we'll be seeing that every week from those guys.
Yeah.
I think
Especially with them running the company.
AEW in general and the Young Bucks and everybody there are kind of just going to adapt over time. Like, they're going to have their own history as long as they may last. I hope they last a long time. But just like WWF did, or to WWE up to this point, like, they're going to change with their times. They're going to learn from mistakes and shit. Like, I think, like, Kenny Omega, I saw on one of the videos they do online or whatever, talked about how he's never done live. He doesn't really do live weekly shows. He's never done that before, so he's gonna have to learn how to do that. And I think it's gonna be the same case with the Young Bucks. They really didn't. I mean, they're gonna have to learn how to market themselves to a mainstream TV
Right.
audience.
They're going to have to learn how to sell themselves to a pay-per-view audience to a match that you have to see them every month, every other month, as opposed to every week on TV. They could have a 5-minute match where they just get all their shit in, or have a 10-minute match where they just maybe sell most of the time and then get a little bit of their stuff in. and build to a big match to
Yeah.
where they do a Bucks match.
Yeah.
Which is
Exactly.
what we saw at the Double or Nothing
Which-
pay-per-view, which was a good match. I mean, there's absolutely nothing at all to say that it was anything poor about that match, except for you didn't, like I mentioned on our pod last month, you didn't really care who won or lost. That was one thing that was kind of like, I'm watching them versus the Lucha Brothers, and I'm like, I want to see what they do next, because the stuff they're doing is incredible.
Yeah.
But do I care who wins or loses? Do I have sympathy? Do I feel anything about any of these guys? No. Because they're just guys doing moves, really.
But if you were putting on your first show, and you know, which they know, they had a lot of like casual fans, a lot of people on the fence getting back into wrestling, getting off of WWE. I mean, I can't fault them for going full
I want to see
bore.
more of this. I want to see more of these guys. Yeah.
Especially if you're saying you're delivering an alternative. And I think you're going to step with your best foot forward and just like, let's put it all in there.
How do you feel about that statement? Do you feel that they delivered an alternative?
Decently, as much as they could for
Okay.
a first show.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
With the roster they have and everything, with all the pieces that they had, they put the puzzle together pretty well.
And TV wise, I don't know if you heard Jericho and Goldust's podcast.
I
today.
didn't hear the one with Dustin yet.
It was great.
I didn't hear that. I didn't even know that was there.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
Sweet,
It's
I'll listen.
I think those guys, and they fully accept without like anyone else even being on the podcast, that it's their role to teach those guys TV. So I think they're smart in
Yeah.
setting people up. Like they just hired Dean Malenko, who's worked
Nice.
as an agent for WWE forever. Who's
Very
one of the
good hire.
best technical wrestlers in the world ever. I mean, the guy was amazing. Billy Gunn's there. That guy knows TV. He's been around the business for it.
For sure.
So I mean, they're putting the right people in place.
I would agree with that. Absolutely. And you're right. I think besides Jericho, Dustin, and Cody, there's nobody there that really understands what weekly television, live television.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be live or post-produced. I'm not sure.
I think it's live.
Well, then even more so,
Yeah.
what producing weekly television's like, where you got to be, what you got to do. That's a lot of blind leading the blind without those guys. So that's great that they have them there and
Yeah.
have a shot at it. Do you feel that is detrimental to the company, though, that the show was built on 66%, call it 2/3% of not necessarily washouts, because Jericho's not a washout and Cody left on his own accord, but that they're building their show on previous names, guys named their names elsewhere? Because it was Cody and Dustin and Jericho and Omega that
I don't
really...
think so, because like the Dean Malenko Billy Gunn thing, these aren't guys you're showcasing on your TV. This is like
Yeah.
this is info. And JR, they've got JR there. Who wouldn't want? I mean, that guy might be old,
Yeah.
but I mean, you've got all this young talent giving you info. Why not take the old guys' advice on some stuff? You know, like,
Oh, very, very true. Very true.
they've got some good guys, and they're not showcasing them the way WCW's like. Oh, we're gonna bring out Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Big Bubba. You know, like
Very
put
true.
them above everyone else. They're using them as agents.
When you look back at that, when you look back at like 96 WCW, 97 WCW, when you got your Benoits and Booker T's and Saturn and guys like that, where you're just like, these guys are incredible.
Yeah.
And yet, you're right, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus, Big Bubba or versus Earthquake or versus Mega Barbarian, like, is higher on the card
Yeah.
and more prominent than that. And you're just like, boy, you missed the boat.
Yeah.
You really missed the boat. Which is why, like, a guy, granted, he was only in the Battle Royal, but who gives a fuck if Ty Dillinger is signed somewhere? Sean Spears,
yeah.
Ty Dillinger. I mean, you know what I mean? They put out a little press release saying, like, oh,
But-
sign him.
At the same time, you can't sign all big names, so like you're gonna need some mid card guys to get some guys in there.
And so if you utilize him to get an MJF over or something
Yeah.
like that, okay, I get it. I guess but I think it's a slippery slope. I think they need to be careful of going. Hey, look who we got!
they
We got
did
this
say
guy,
it.
and it's like, well, that guy's not a big deal.
From what I read is, I think him and Cody are legit like super good
really, really
friends.
close friends, right?
And they did come out and say like, oh hey, we don't want just any WWE cast off, like.
Right,
So I think they are going to be pretty selective.
which is wise.
so.
I remember when Damian Sandow showed up in TNA, and I'm just like, I don't give a shit.
And then they did nothing with him.
Oh my god, I just don't give a shit. I mean, like, this guy, he looked the part. I thought he looks like a superstar. Boy, the only thing he ever did that really got over was just imitating The Miz. And it's like, that guy's not a
I
star.
mean, I like the intellectual savior of the masses. He did
He's
for the
a
character.
mid-card
He did
character.
good for it.
Well, wait, so I think you disagreed with my assessment Mark kind of agreed, but I think he thought it went a little too far. Where I compared Cody Rhodes to Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. That's okay. So I'm gonna break this down.
I can see the comparison, but I don't.
When I hit him with that, he gave that no, and then I was explaining why, and it gave him like okay, I see where you're coming from.
I came up with an entire metaphor for this. Okay. An analogy. So you said Cody's. We're gonna leave Jeff Jarrett out of this because that guy piggybacked his dad. He sucked. He was an awful wrestler.
Cody Rhodes
tried to
model
his entire. Well, his dad didn't own companies and just showcase him. And
yes, he did. Well,
no. And he didn't model his whole career after just ripping off Ric Flair and all this stuff. Awful. Hate Jeff Jarrett. But so Cody Rhodes. Let me break this down. If you still work in a factory?
I do.
Okay. If you're working at a plant. And you're a metal fabrication guy. You're running a CNC press. You're running a CNC press. I broke this down to Jerrod terms. You're running a CNC press, and you're doing it. You're doing it every day. You're the best guy on the floor, but no one ever promotes you. You constantly are doing better. Doing better. Some guy walks in. In this case, it's like a Roman Reigns type walks in, and he just gets pushed to the top.
Okay.
Same thing happens on your floor. Some guy comes in. Oh, he knows somebody. Oh, maybe he's got a degree. That guy becomes your boss. He's running the floor, getting showcased to the bosses. You're still struggling. Doing your job day in, day out, working your butt off. You're like, you know what? I'm never going to make it in this company. You leave, you go work around a couple companies as Cody did. And one day you're like, you know what? I've been doing this. I kind of been working on this own thing though. And I think I got my own product. I can do this fabrication myself. I can make this product. You find an investor, and he did that with Tony Khan. Now, just because you never made it to management in this factory, does that mean you can't be a top guy in your own company? Because people are going to say, you can't run your own company. All you ever did was you just ran presses. You never made it anywhere.
Does it mean that you can't? No. Does it mean that you should? Also, no.
Okay.
Because Cody Rhodes was never the best guy on the floor.
But is that because he wasn't showcased?
No, it's because he wasn't the best guy on the floor. Because he's a mediocre talent in every which way.
The guy's done some pretty good stuff outside of WWE. His Wrestle Kingdom match with Ibushi.
Ibushi, one of the best wrestlers in the world, was pretty good.
Okay. It was still
pretty
good. I just think you saying that him going to start his own company is unfair, saying he can't be a top guy because he never was.
No, that's a decent cook with an incredible cut of meat and throws it on the grill and goes, check out my steak.
But just because
man, it's pretty fucking good, but anybody could have done that.
Just because you didn't make it in one company because they didn't want you to make it, doesn't mean you can't go and make it yourself. So I don't think it's...
Weigh in before I get mad.
You said something that struck me as a little weird. You said actually I can't remember now exactly what you said, but you said maybe you can do that. You can strike out and be like, I can be a top guy. Does that mean that you should? No. Well, who are you to say if he should or not? Like, who is anybody to ever be that if they don't fucking do it?
You're right.
And I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying just because you ran this press forever and never got promoted doesn't mean you can't be better than that. Just because someone else in a company didn't see you as better doesn't mean you don't have the chance to be a top guy.
And who's not to say that he isn't gonna?
I'm not gonna
show us
say
that he is a top guy in the future. I mean, he's still young. He's like my age.
That guy's got charisma.
I'm saying is the difference between actually having a physical skill, which nobody's going to sit there and try to say that Cody's the best in-ring worker there ever was or anything like that. Nobody's going to say that. He's good. He's capable.
He's good hand.
Oh, he's good. He's capable. But my perspective is, you're right. Me maybe as your boss, which I'm not as a fan. Well, me as the consumer says, I don't believe that you make the best product. So you telling me that you do isn't good enough. I need more for you to show me. And now, granted, I think him and Dustin had the best match on the card. But I still feel that was just mid-carders having a match that they thought was a main event match because they created their own company, which was Jeff Jarrett in a fucking nutshell. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's my comparison. Jeff Jarrett was nothing wrong with him as a mid-carder. He did his mid-card shtick, and it's fine. and then all of a sudden, no man, motherfucker, I'm a top guy. Look at me.
I think Jerrod.
I don't think you are. That's
Jerrod,
my comparison.
Jerrod, I'd have a different argument. Like I wouldn't say what I just said about Jeff Jarrett.
And I
Because
think
Jeff Jarrett had he's much older, had a much longer career.
And he proved himself not being a top guy.
Exactly.
Like he actually proved it when he went to WCW with Russo to be the savior, and that company did even
No,
worse.
that would have tanked with Bruno Sammartino.
Russo would have tanked it anyway. But
Yeah.
Jarrett was, I mean, he had a chance, and it was bad.
I'm
Cody
not-
hasn't blown being a top guy yet. I'm just saying give the guy a chance. I'm not
Cody-
saying he will be a top guy.
Okay.
I'm just saying he's
Knew
getting his
that,
chance
but
to showcase
going
it.
back to where you say you're the best break operator out there. I don't think Cody was. I don't. Now it'd be different.
But in his mind, he thinks he's getting passed
If
up.
Cody
and never had a fair
got
shake.
treated the same way, if an AJ Styles or Seth Rollins or somebody of that ability did have the exact same run that Cody did, I would be like this is my perspective. I would say no. This guy, I'm glad this guy needs to be featured. This guy needs to be prominent. That's why I'm a huge Drew McIntyre guy. He went out there and did his own thing. Now today, and he's not getting featured that great. So if right now Drew McIntyre went out there and did this, I'd be like, no, you got me sold. This guy, that's a fucking star. That's a guy that I need to see. This is a guy that I believe in. Cody is a little forced for me. Cody feels like does he do a good job of being a heel? He does. Does he do a good job? But he feels like a comic book villain, which is A, kind of a good thing, but B, meh, shit, yeah, it's a little hokey. Like, I don't know. That's my perspective on it.
I just think you can't hold because another company never showcased him and let him be better. You can't hold that against him.
I think they did showcase it. I think they did.
I think he was in, from what I've heard, you heard that Moxley interview, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot like that. Like, yeah, they showcased him, but it's like, you're giving me shit. I can't make salad out of it.
As soon as he got a little creative with his own stuff, they shut it down. That's a
I
possibility.
mean, also look at the era they were showcasing him into. Like, I wasn't watching
Oh,
at that
man,
time. A lot of people weren't watching at that time. Like, it's hard to get somebody over when when everybody that's watching are huge fucking fans that have been that are kind of disappointed in the product.
Right.
Not only that, but where does the fact that his father was Dusty Rhodes factor in? The fact that he's one of the it's talked about as being one of the greatest bookers of all time. Like, I think he does have the chops and the lineage to run a company pretty well.
It's a fair statement. I will absolutely give this to Cody. He absolutely put his all on everything they gave him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he didn't have, when they said just have a mustache, he tried to get that shit over. You know, the dashing Cody Rhodes was probably the best stuff I think he ever did, to be honest with you.
And I think they made him too much of a character to showcase wrestling, too. So I don't think he ever really got to showcase wrestling in WWE.
I disagree. I think he did.
I mean,
And I think
as much
he
as
was
you
so-
can for being Stardust.
Well, the Stardust era is a different thing. Nobody could have gotten the Stardust done shit.
And think about how
he
young he
tried.
was during the mustache era.
Yeah.
And all
Oh
that
yeah,
stuff.
he was still in
That
his
dude was-
mid-20s. Yeah.
He had no run in developmental. I mean, that guy went
No,
straight
they
into
brought him
wrestling.
straight up. He did. He tried his best. He put everything into all of his characters. I would disagree with you. I think he did get a fair chance to showcase his wrestling ability, and I think it showed that it was good, not great, which is fine.
I think you're just not giving him a fair shake. Is what this boils down to. Is what my argument is. I think just give it time. I think you also miss how much of the match wasn't the best between Cody and Dustin. I think if you take into account, I don't think you're understanding the story as much, and
I understand the story.
you have to give them. They had people in the crowd in tears. That speaks volumes.
because they
of
were
getting people-
drunk in Vegas.
I don't care. That speaks volumes of getting a crowd over into the story.
That's
invested.
true.
I mean people are legit invested and want to see them tag now against the Bucks.
I absolutely understood the story. My stance is that I don't think they were strong enough characters to make me care about the story the way they wanted me to care about it. I don't think they were. I've never in my life felt
And
like
I
Dustin and
think-
Cody were top guys. So they have a main event style match. You know, it wasn't a Shawn Michaels super kicking Ric Flair. I'm sorry, I love you moment. Okay, it wasn't because they didn't. They're not Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. That's an unfair comparison. Nobody is.
But I think without TV and without having, they've never had a chance because Dustin was still in WWE. Without having the chance to continue your story, I mean, I think they did pretty well. For building up just a couple promos on YouTube.
Okay, I'll give you that. I think the match is being terribly overrated because technically it wasn't a very good match at all. For being honest, there was a lot of missed stuff. Now,
I'd give it a 4. I don't think it's a 5.
I'm giving it a 3, and I think it would be less than that if it wasn't for the crazy amount of blood.
I was about to say, if it wasn't for the blood, I think the blood made it.
But it had the blood.
It did have the blood, and the blood is important to the match. I'm not saying that we should have factored it in, but
I think the match would have been much better too if it didn't go on as long as it did.
And we gotta think, there's a guy in there that's in his 50s.
He's 50.
I mean,
I'm not denying the performance of Dustin.
And I think that's one of the best matches he's ever had. What's he done?
It might be the best match he's ever had. It might be the best match either of them ever had.
And I think that factors into the story too. You got a guy that's like another guy, Goldust, featured, never had a chance to prove any wrestling ability.
I would have loved to have seen a Goldust Shawn feud in '96. Like, I thought that would be incredible. Mm-hmm. How good Dustin was moving back then too.
I think Goldust and put him with someone against Bret Hart, who we talk about, the bitter old man Bret Hart. You have this androgynous character. That would have been amazing.
I don't know what androgynous means. We're not getting into Bret now.
I know.
All right, well, John, you go. We're working backwards on it, but you go ahead and defend that opening battle royal to me then.
Hey, you gotta have something for everyone. Hey,
I did actually watch that.
WWE does some of the goofiest shit that'll never get over. So I mean, there's a fan. There's a fan of every type.
The WWE's balls as I talk about this either.
I'm just saying, you gotta have something for everyone, and that battle royal, it's not gonna be much. It served its purpose of they gotta get Hangman Page out there, a means to an end. So I think it's great. Make the match mean something. You have your first number one contender actually win something.
I'm fine with Hangman Page being positioned in the top position too. I think it's really good. So
it's hard for any wrestler to showcase much in a battle royal. You know that.
Well, as a company, you can showcase something, and
the most you can showcase is if you have a powerhouse and he's just cleaning house. That's what battle royals are meant for.
Sure.
And then also, I mean, there's so many no names in there.
There's a lot of no names. Well,
it's introductory again. It's like, how do we showcase a lot of our guys? We'll just put them out there, get them a little familiar. Those guys didn't have much to work with.
Fair. So, you did finally see it, Mark?
No, I went ahead and watched it like 2 days after the last podcast because you talked about it so much, and it was goofy as hell.
Yeah,
it was very gimmicky. Like you mentioned, the guy with yellow face paint, he did look awful.
He looked awful.
All kinds of botches, but I mean, I saw it for what it was, and I mean, it wasn't great, but looking at it for what it was,
battle royal.
I was entertained. You know,
I wasn't
at the least. Like I thought. The weird little guy, I can't remember his name, popped in there out of nowhere, did the floss dance or whatever, the Fortnite dance. No, like little guy with longer curly hair, tiniest dude in there.
Oh, Marco Stunt?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that guy, I thought it was a little kid in there. I felt worried for him.
The guy with no legs. You have MJF make a statement.
The no legs thing. MJF probably the best part about it.
I think so.
I think one part of what sucked about the show too is I got so excited for Pac and Hangman.
That was a really good match that got taken away.
And that was the main event. That was their showcase match. So you got to think about a show running without. You gotta throw Cody and Dustin up into more main event. I mean, that match should have been.
And that's the thing. I really think that show's going to be ultimately forgettable, except for those last 3 matches. And honestly, I would say the Bucks match is forgettable because it's just another Bucks match.
Did you hear the Pac rumor?
I did not.
So it's going to be the Elite, Bucks and Kenny versus the Lucha Brothers and a mystery opponent. Rumored to be Pac, which would be an insane match. I mean, that's just going to be nuts. There's not going to be a lot of selling. It's going to be just kicking each other's heads off, and I think it'll be awesome.
At what?
Is that at All Out, maybe?
I don't know.
No, because All Out's Moxley versus...
and the Fighter Fest is going to be the Bucks versus Cody and Dustin. So.
Yeah, so I don't know when that is.
Okay, all right.
Well, that was really good.
Bucks and Cody and Dustin's All Out, so maybe it is Fighter Fest. And then Moxley... No, because Moxley versus Kenny's All Out. Yeah, so maybe it is Fighter Fest.
I don't know, I guess we'll find out. Shit.
That was a really good match that got taken away.
And I think that you want to showcase...
That could have been a match that showcased both A, guy that you already know, and B, a guy that you probably don't.
And that's going to pull in, like, that NXT crowd that's checking out...
Neville with Pac back again.
Well, if they're just checking out All Out, or All Elite, I mean, Hangman. is amazing.
Oh, yeah,
Pac's amazing. And
yeah,
that would
Page
have
is
pulled
a star in the rise.
I think that would have been an NXT quality match. I mean, hands down, it would have been amazing.
And that's the thing too, is that All Elite got all these just, oh my god, this is the future wrestling. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then 1 week later was NXT Takeover. Where I was like, that's a perfect fucking show.
It's amazing.
That was a perfect fucking show. Like
they do it every time.
They do it. They do. They hit home runs every time.
Every time.
And it's amazing what they do. I mean, Roderick Strong and Matt Riddle, and I said, I'm like, I know I sound like I'm trolling, but like, well, that was better than anything AEW did last week. I don't care what anybody wants to tell me otherwise. I think that was a better match. The first match with NXT was better than anything AEW did. Now, listen, here's the thing. This is in fairness. AEW is presenting this stuff for the first time. They're giving me Cody versus Dustin was probably the best match on that show. I think most people can agree. I came in with a pre-interpretation of like, I know these guys. These are what these guys are to me. Roderick Strong, huge Roderick Strong fan. He's been around for 15 years doing Ring of Honor. He's incredible. I still think he should be a bigger star than what he is. Matt Riddle, I'm still kind of in between on. Not sure how big of a star he can or can't be. So I'm watching this in that sort of perspective and going, holy fuck, Matt Riddle's incredible.
He's taken like a fish to water.
Yeah.
It's like watching Kurt Angle again.
And that match was incredible where I'm like, now I'm more hooked on that because of what might happen, what might come out of it than Cody and Dustin because it is what it is to me. Maybe that makes some sense.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense at all?
No, it makes perfect sense. I think looking at it from an outside perspective, like, just the fact that we're able to sit here and talk about it all like this says a lot of good fucking things about things to come. The fact that we can sit here and debate about it, and just the fact that we can do this and talk about it like this means good things, I think. You see what I mean? See where I'm going with that?
I just wish that all of that would translate over to what's on actual TV, on the Raw and SmackDown.
But I think, like, again, there's been one show from AEW. We don't know what they have up their sleeve or what they could do in the future.
They had a bozo with his hand in his pockets kicking Tommy Dreamer.
And I do believe that those guys
You're right.
will...
You're right about that.
I got nothing good to say about that.
When it comes to TV time, I have nothing but confidence in storytelling from those guys because if I've been watching Being Elite for a year and a half, 2 years, and then I back cataloged a ton of it, and Just Evidence is the all-in pay-per-view, completely sold on just storyline from like 15 minutes a week, 20 minutes a week, and it was amazing. Those guys can tell stories.
It got sold on what wrestling is today. It got sold on it being an internet thing. It got sold on it. Fans wanted to be a part of it. Fans wanted to, from all around the country saying, I want to have a ticket for this.
But you can also be invested in the stories, though. As ridiculous as the stories were, Hangman Page murdering Joey Ryan was an amazing story that paid off. It paid off the way it should because Joey Ryan.
I would think it's at least 75% more my thing, where the fans want to be a part of it. They bought the T-shirts. They want to be the ones that have the ticket to the first show. They want to be the ones that got this one off the ground because nobody else was. It was all big businesses.
But I don't think that excitement would be there if WWE wasn't blowing it so hard with Raw and SmackDown.
Oh, I agree with that.
They're pushing their audience there.
I can agree with that.
They push their audience to NXT, which is their
They're pushing their talent there.
Yeah.
Is what's happening right now, too. Which, listen, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the mentality of, the companies that we knew, WCW and WF, they were already around. They were built by big businessmen and big money contracts and everything like that, as opposed to these are wrestlers. These are guys that sold a bunch of T-shirts and thought, hey, we can run a show. Mm-hmm. That's what Cody and the Bucks and Omega are. They're guys that just, put it together
because there's some legitimacy there, too. I mean, in the ring, legitimacy.
Well, yeah, but I don't think that's going to be even the selling point because there's legitimate great wrestlers all over the indies everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And there's great ones in New Japan.
But these guys, they just know how to market it. They know how to... They're businessmen.
I agree with you there. And when we talk about Cody versus Jeff Jarrett business-wise, I didn't have an argument on that.
Yeah.
Cody, I think Cody can be great. I don't think he's a great wrestler now. Maybe he will be. But I will tell you, you can see people wearing Cody shirts all over the place. I always do. That guy, he knows how to market.
They must come with a kiss on the cheek from his wife or something. That's why they sold.
Shit, if they did, I'd buy one. I'll buy a few.
Let me buy 5.
Yeah. Well, we're in a different age. Like, if this is what everybody thinks it's gonna be, and it's like a new Monday Night War, or whatever the hell it is. I guess Tuesday, because they have a show on Tuesday.
I think it'll be great.
But I think in this day and age, it's going to be very different. Like, do you think they're not hearing all this stuff people are saying about the battle royal and all this stuff? You think they're not getting online and seeing all that? You think they're not gonna take that to heart?
And it's not necessarily just because a fan says I don't like it. I would, take it from, and Jim Cornette's a really controversial guy because he hates everything in wrestling. But there is a really good point of it. I remember him saying about the guy with no legs. He said, listen, just because you got a guy with no legs and he absolutely loves the Dallas Cowboys doesn't mean you put him out there on the field.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's not really an argument against that. Like, that's completely fair. Like, I can get that. I hope they listen to some criticisms because it seems like the WWF doesn't.
Exactly.
So listen to the criticisms, try to take it in. I mentioned about the announce team. Excalibur is actually a pretty good announcer. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have an announcer with a fucking hood on as your commentator because I said that felt like a Saturday Night Live skit. It really did.
Yeah,
you got the straight man, you got the wrestling and a cowboy, and then a guy in a fucking mask, and the deer in the headlights straight guy. And the thing of it is that Ross wasn't terrible and Excalibur was really good, but the Marvelous is pretty shitty. But that looked like a caricature of pro wrestling to me. If you throw those three guys on there about to call wrestling, I think I'm about to watch a comedy wrestling skit.
And it's a cartoon.
That's
King
not
of the Hill
what you want.
Version of WWF.
Bringing up the commentary, the biggest thing I took away from Double or Nothing is they did a great thing WWE does, and WWE can have a shitty show, but they can leave you sometimes with a moment that just eclipses everything. And when John Moxley comes down and you hear JR calling it, that is like a 90s wrestling fan's dream is to have one of those moments again with JR. And Chris Jericho sold that. The guy's amazing. The guy's just, it's fucking Chris Jericho.
And how fucking good did
that was amazing.
Did that bump from Kenny Omega onto the... It looked legit. It looked like he broke the floor.
Yeah.
That looked great.
It was awesome. Moxley said in, what interview did I hear or read? I don't know, but he said he didn't know when they were going off camera, and he didn't care, and he said they're probably mad, but he just stayed up there on the things, and then he decided, and I think cameras were off by this time, he did a full lap around with the fans, because it was his victory lap. He said he was just so happy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I would have done it too.
It's a genuine thing.
Yeah, awesome. He just said this week he feels like he's 18 again.
And fans can tell when wrestling is genuine. They can tell when a wrestler is feeling it, having a good time, or when you're kind of against going with the motions. Where I just wrestled on Friday night at a Minerva Homecoming. It's an outdoor show. It was basically an exhibition for the wrestling company. Here's a few matches. Here's our guys. Come check us out. And next week, you have to pay for it. And I think the fans know because I know it's a free show. The fans are all casual, very casual fans, so they're not into it the way that you are. To where the wrestlers were not going to probably give the same effort. And that sounds terrible. We're not going to work as hard. You're not as into it. You're not as into it as opposed, the fans that have paid there and can't wait to see the match between these two guys. Can't wait to see these guys kill each other. No, they're here because it's a spectacle at the fair.
And fans don't show up as excited because they didn't pay. They're like, I'll check this out.
They didn't pay. Well, you went to that show in Barberton that we were talking about earlier, where I remember I was a couple times, and they did it as a free show. They just wanted to do it as a tribute to their younger brother who had passed. But did we pack the place? Absolutely. Was it about the most quiet 300 people I've ever wrestled in front of? Kind of. Because, again, it's just like, we're going to go here because they want us to, and it's free. 300 people, packed crowd, and they're just not really into not only you, but not only into anything. Kind of strange. But that goes back to, again, the fans seeing a guy that everybody knows, they all know Dean Ambrose, but seeing him as John Moxley, seeing him as just a different look in his eye, being fired up for what he was doing. Yeah, no, that's exciting.
Did you see how good he looked in that New Japan match? Like
with Juice Robinson?
Just
I saw the
body-wise.
finish. Well, he looked good body-wise coming back to the Fed.
Just wearing tights and he just looked like a wrestler. Like he looked like
he always wore tights before he actually started doing
Ambrose. But he was real skinny back then too.
Yeah, he was.
He looks good.
I think he looks good. I think he looks fired up.
I didn't see that match, but
I didn't see the whole match.
He does seem fired up, for sure.
So, man, what else you want to get off of your mind here? You want to talk any current product? What is there?
We talked about how AEW was okay. It was good. I think it was good for the first show.
I'm gonna go back to
NXT.
okay. I'll agree with you.
NXT was awesome.
Yeah.
Super Showdown.
Woo. I was at work while it was on, and I kind of read what happened. So I picked up after Andrade and Balor, which I heard was the best match. So I picked up after that. So I saw most of it.
There's no reason those guys should have a bad match, though. We wouldn't expect
No. Now listen, there's also 91-degree heat or whatever it is.
I think they said that the ring never got below 100.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Damn.
Goldberg, Undertaker.
I don't think it was as bad as people give it shit for. The last minute was atrocious.
I was worried the Undertaker was going to break his neck on that jackhammer. I saw that GIF and I was like, well, I got to see this match now.
All those factors, two 50-plus-year-old men in 100-degree heat with
Yeah.
Goldberg like having a concussion. They're lucky.
Rough.
Yeah.
I would keep Goldberg out for a while.
I don't know whether or not Goldberg knocking himself out and all that happening made the match better or not.
It made it better with the blood for the time being, I thought.
I think it gives you more to talk about because that match would have been a nothing match.
Do you think the match would have been as entertaining if that didn't happen and they just did the match they did?
No. The crowd was into it, though. I'm say that right now. And I'm going to say it was the first
it was real.
Is that because that's a match that's awesome, or because these people have a chance to see a show and nothing ever comes over to our country?
That's why they put it on there. They didn't put it on there because it was going to be a quick
That's why
match.
the crowd's fire. I think.
That's why they wanted to see the match, but I think what they got, almost as fucked up as it was, ended up being even more entertaining than they probably would have got if it didn't happen.
It was entertaining in a way.
Not necessarily entertaining, but exciting, and like you're like, holy
I
shit,
think
you're watching.
I think everything leading up to the botched jackhammer was actually okay in that match.
It was
simple enough.
It was them going through the motions.
Sure.
It's just,
but it was simple, and I got the crowd's reaction, so I didn't have any problem with it until the finish, which was absolutely botched, atrocious.
I had a very different experience watching that match than you did, I guess. From the moment he cracked his head open and I knew that he was fucking concussed, it was a completely different experience. I was just watching to see how this was going to end up.
It's a car wreck at that point.
Yeah, like, it wasn't a match to me.
Well,
It was, how the fuck are they going to pull this off?
Yeah, get through this. Taker's always done great working punches, so like I thought they built a story around that. That wasn't that bad until the very, very bad ending. I'm not saying that wasn't. I don't think it was as I don't think it was as bad as Goldberg and Lesnar from Mania 20.
Do you think you've got this show that you've already got millions and millions of dollars for?
Yeah.
This crowd's already going to be there. Do you think it's dumb to put Goldberg versus Undertaker? Because I do. I don't know why. If you have Goldberg losing, why would you not put him against Drew McIntyre?
Because it's the Saudi fans, the Saudi government that are involved in it. They wanted to see that match.
I think it clogs up, and I think that's part of why Raw sucks every couple of months.
Which is kind of crazy considering how huge those names were 20 years ago, 21, 22 years ago. Goldberg versus Undertaker it's a monster name value match,
nuts.
And these guys had to pay, hand over fist to get a match that sucked.
I get why they made it Goldberg versus Undertaker. I understand why they would want to see it because they've probably never seen it before live and shit. But I think it was dumb for Goldberg to do it.
For me,
he got paid, man.
I know he got paid, but like, if this is the last match he ever wrestled, the last match he had was a great fucking way to go out, and he just ruined it.
Well, Shawn Michaels completely ruined his too.
Oh,
I mean, how much does money talk? When you talk literally over $1 million, which I'm sure they both got.
I think people respected Shawn's retirement because he stayed gone.
Yeah, and he only tried to salvage it by saying it was against the Undertaker anyway.
But Shawn Michaels and Goldberg are two very different people.
You're right.
Very different careers.
You're
Goldberg
right.
was like, oh, cool. Goldberg ended on a really fucking good note.
That
awesome.
match with Lesnar was
Shawn
pretty
Michaels
damn good,
had
actually.
Many other great matches. Goldberg may have had a good match or two, but like he was no Shawn. He never had any Shawn Michaels type matches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. What else did you think about the Super Showdown? Hunter and Orton wasn't bad, went a little too long.
I don't
that
care.
battle royal, where they had the native Saudi Arabian guy win it, seemed a little predictable. But I'll tell you what, did it give me a little bit of goosebumps in his promo after the match? It did.
He cut a better promo.
Great promo.
Bet it wasn't scripted. It was just good.
He had good visuals. He believed it.
It felt like he was raining energy.
Yeah. He believed it. I thought, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, oh, yeah, have this guy, nobody knows, beat 49 other guys, great. Then he cuts that promo, and you're like, okay, no problem really with that at all.
Purpose.
Yeah.
It got, again, they're getting money thrown at them, so it's like WrestleMania. It's a way for a lot of that talent to just get money.
For sure.
What I hate,
I mean, how much do you think guys made? Like, Gallows and Anderson got thrown out in 30 seconds of the Battle Royal to fly across the world.
Yeah.
They got paid a pretty penny for it. It's crazy.
I think my biggest thing I hate about these shows is Raw already sucks at telling stories.
Yeah.
It drags forever. Well, then you have to stop all storyline to build 2 weeks of storyline that's not going to matter.
Integrate these guys. Integrate a Goldberg and
man.
Undertaker storyline. I agree completely.
Yeah, you're just wasting.
Integrate a Triple H and Norton story
for no reason.
You gotta give us a little time to put this on that doesn't have anything to do with anything else. We're promoting it because we're trying to sell this.
They had what felt like a 10-minute video package for Orton Triple H, like for no reason. Yeah.
It's not going anywhere else.
I think it's killing your weekly show.
Yeah.
It's killing.
Well, they did the same thing for the Australia show, which
Yeah.
doesn't have the stink on it that Saudi Arabia does, but it was the same thing.
If you're gonna have these shows that don't matter, why build it up?
And the matches are sexy as hell, but it feels like an old house show, the WWF, where it's like, yeah, there's a lot of great wrestlers, there's a lot of great matches, but nothing's going to happen.
The heroes are gonna win.
Yeah,
nothing's gonna happen.
Nothing's gonna happen.
They're not gonna fully put out insane matches. I hate these shows. They're ruining the weekly product.
I think so.
Why televise them?
I think you
Because
televise
there
them,
can watch them.
but I don't know what you're gonna televise anyway. No one cares.
I think it adds a whole nother level of like stress and production when you televise.
Oh yeah.
When he makes a great point.
Yeah, you already got paid for it. Why?
You already got paid for it. It's not
We're
not buying a ticket to go to Saudi Arabia to go see the match.
If you're gonna do it, make something. Okay, have a lot of house show match, but maybe have Lesnar actually cash in. Give us something like, oh, I need to start checking these shows out.
If they're gonna do that, at least make it.
The only thing that they could be potentially trying to sell is more people getting the network to see it, to get a subscriber to it.
That's not what I'm getting the network for.
Right, that's the thing. If you're not getting the network, get WrestleMania for $10. You ain't gonna get it for this. And I think Mark's right. Who are you selling it to?
Yeah.
If you're bringing Goldberg and Taker on TV every week to cut a promo about their match, we're either going to watch it or we're not.
Yeah.
Where you have the network or we know how to get to it. The show's already sold in Saudi Arabia. Have them cut like some interview packages or promo packages to have air on Saudi Arabia over there. Absolutely.
Well, your weekly show that you're selling your regular pay-per-views, I think you have people tuning out at that point when you're selling this super show. Like no one wants to see the actual fans.
Agree.
Who don't want to see Orton and Triple H again. It's like, come
That's a
on.
really good point.
I think it's killing the product.
Or go if you want to televise it, if you want to make it a thing, make it a thing. Don't make it a weird separate thing that's kind of in the middle of everything. Just work it in, like as if it was Backlash or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, you gotta make something happen. I'm not saying it has to be Lesnar cashing in, but if Lesnar's got that briefcase, why not cash in on one of these shows? Make it a selling point. Yeah. I mean, I think people feel like they have to tune into these.
Right, they teased him cashing in on the show,
which I think we all knew.
They've been teasing it. Period.
It's just,
yeah. No, and it does. I mean, the guy winning the 50-man battle royal again. They talk about him cut a great promo. Sure, he absolutely did. What does that matter?
Yeah.
It didn't mean anything. No titles ever change hands in the shows. It's you want to watch it for some mediocre wrestling, you'll have it.
If they change a title, it's going to be the U.S. title, something
24/7.
24/7. It's going to be something that doesn't matter. I'm surprised they didn't change the Hype Brothers like changing titles. I guess. The Revival's champions now?
The Revival won the championship.
Lackeys for Shane McMahon?
Lackeys for Shane McMahon again, which I hate it. At the same time, is there any more real heat than Shane McMahon? His bullshit right now?
He's the most televised wrestler in WWE right now.
The roster is so fucking good. And they can't get enough Shane McMahon.
Drew McIntyre, if you're going to have him be a lackey for Shane, he shouldn't just be at his side. He should be running stuff. He should just be telling him who to attack, and he should be kicking everyone's ass.
That's the worst idea.
He shouldn't just be out there sipping champagne with him.
I don't have it. Tell him, Walt. I don't have the mental capacity to really get into
Oh, come on.
Raw and SmackDown and all my issues with it right now. I yelled at the camera a couple of weeks ago. We suggested so many things that try to fix it, and I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they're trying.
They're just not listening.
They need to start listening. I don't think it heard me still.
Maybe a little louder.
Next time.
I don't think we have enough money.
Next time we'll get him.
Speaking of money, I see you guys upped the production value, changed the logo to the classic NWO.
We got some big things on the
had it
horizon.
on the TV ready to go, but then the power went out.
We got some big things on the horizon, OWC wise. I think we're gaining a lot of ground, man. I think we're gaining a lot of traction here.
Yeah, we've gained a few subscribers too since the last episode. I noticed.
We appreciate you, John, listening every week. John's not on Facebook, so he doesn't get to see it when we share.
Nope.
I have to personally tell him that it's on there.
No, I'm subscribed,
subscribed?
on iTunes.
Okay,
so
good man.
It tells me.
Cool. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get at least one fired up, and maybe another one. You feel like sticking around, talking some more wrestling with us?
I can talk some stuff.
Well, I have an idea. of what we might be able to talk about today.
This guy, Bret the Hitman Hart,
I think.
I commented on it when he walked in.
greatest wrestler all time.
Well, we're not going to get into that in episode 15 today.
Yeah, that sounds like a whole nother episode for you.
I think we might have at least another hour's worth to talk about, don't you, Mark?
At least. Yeah.
At least, yeah. So this has been fun, man. This has been a lot of fun. Again, John, appreciate you subscribing, listening to the pod, and
I feel like I babbled for a while, but
hey, man, you're the special guest. We wanted to see what you felt about wrestling today. We talked about basically similar issues last week, but this is another perspective. And when we started this pod, we wanted to do it where, yeah, I'm in the business or the indies. I don't know everything, obviously, but I have a little bit of a different perspective. I wanted Mark's perspective on things as an absolute fan, and you being a fan of both the product altogether, fan of this podcast, makes a lot of sense, man. Sit down, talk shop with us for a little bit.
For sure.
just give it a chance. Give AEW a chance.
That's what we're landing on. Give AEW a chance. What about Impact Wrestling?
I don't think there's enough chances to go around anymore.
No, Mark mentions that you can watch them on Twitch, and I don't understand it.
I hear they're doing okay.
I've never actually done it, so.
No.
I don't understand how. I don't know how AEW has one of the best TV deals. I don't know money wise, but accessibility wise, TNT everyone's got it. It's in every
Very
package.
true.
I don't know how TNA hasn't done
Good
it.
point.
I don't know what they're doing over there, but
I've thought about watching TNA or Impact every now and then, just because I have Twitch and shit. But and your boy Madman Fulton's on there.
Yeah, Fulton is on there. Sammy Callahan's on there. Yeah, I got some friends of mine that are.
I heard it's not
doing really well over there.
Better-ish than it used to be. I guess I don't know.
Another company that you look at the wasted talent though.
Yeah.
Oh, sure as hell. Sure as hell. Them, as well as Ring of Honor, whether they want to or not, have basically become the farm club for WWE. They'll just take whoever they want.
Yeah, I think Ring of Honor's slipping. I mean, especially now AEW.
It works, bro.
Fireworks.
If AEW is going to pull from anywhere, I think those are guys that work in Ring of Honor, and so I think they got a lot of pull, a lot of talent there. So
They do, which it seems like the WWE is also trying to sign up any indie darlings they can, and they're also offering big time money to their current stars. Which I will say this with nothing else about AEW, it's great for the boys. Boys are great for the boys.
Did you hear the contracts they're offering now is rumored a week or two ago. If you go to NXT, it's longer contracts now. So
Really?
you're going to get more, longer, and probably more money because they don't want to lose people.
Don't
Good.
lose them.
Good, and they can stay at NXT
Which is
longer.
really good for the boys. Might suck for the product, but
Great for the boys though to either get paid and have an option again is a good thing, and the guys deserve to get paid, man. They work a hard schedule, got to put their bodies on the line every single night. They deserve to make a nice paycheck for that.
if you want to give me the option to go to NXT to wrestle Gargano and Adam Cole, I'd take it.
No training. I just take an ass beating.
Yeah.
They can squash me every fucking day.
You could be your first man on the job and still have a 3.5-star match
Yeah.
just because of those two guys being in there. Yeah, not a bad thing. Man, you think we covered everything?
I think it's probably a good stop point.
I think so too, man.
Walter's a little problem.
Walt's getting a little fired up with the fireworks going on around
He
here.
hates all this hate that's going on in this episode.
There's less hate.
peaceful.
There's less hate in this
that's
episode than there was. No, next episode, Walt might be fired up.
Oh,
We'll
shit himself.
We'll see how he lands on the Canada-USA debate.
Oh shit. He's Chinese, so.
Well, you want to take it home for us here, Mark?
Yeah, I guess that was Ohio Wrestlecast number 15, right?
15,
yeah, 15.
yeah, buddy.
Look at that. We're halfway to 30.
It's 30 monumental.
I mean,
We'll do it from
I
the garden.
guess it's the beginning of like middle age, isn't it? I don't know. We're getting up there anyway. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching this, we're on the YouTube channel that you need to subscribe to. So go ahead and do that. Click the
Really
bell
appreciated. You can subscribe to some free fireworks.
Yeah.
Because that's happening right now.
Walter loves them.
Subscribe to free Walt being all fired up.
Yeah. Yeah. Facebook.com/Ohio Wrestlecast. Trying to say it over Walt. Come here.
Hi, Wrestlecast. We're going to have some more merchandise available soon.
Yeah, we will.
Very, very, very cool stuff on the horizon.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Tell him, Walt.
Walter wants to get that in there too.
Yeah.
Again, thanks for joining us, John.
Yeah.
And I guess until next time.
Bye, Internet.